Guys, I know it's been a little bit since I've made a video, especially about the Texas Longhorns, and a lot has transpired when it comes to UT. Two ball games, two wins, and a three-game winning streak for the Texas Longhorns, and more importantly, I guess, the Texas Longhorns, your 2014 version of them, they're bowl eligible, which that usually happens for the Texas Longhorns in the past, usually by about week 6 or 7. But this is a new team, a new group, and Coach Strong, I think what I really like about these last 3 weeks overall, between Texas Tech, West Virginia, and Oklahoma State, is that you're starting to really see his thumbprint on this team. You're starting to see his mentality really come through for this football team. Now, there are still flaws. A lot of that has to do with the fact that there's still suspensions, injuries, things of that sort, and Strong really hadn't got his guys into the program just yet. But the way he's gotten these guys to commit to playing football, the way these guys react after the wins, of course, the viral video that went after the West Virginia win where they had Charlie crowd surfing in the locker room. You love to see that kind of stuff because, at least from the outsider looking in, you start to think, these guys are buying in. These guys respect this man. These guys want to fight and bleed for this guy. And that's what you want to see. That's what we want to bring back to Austin. Now, going through the games, though, of course, we talked about Texas Tech. The West Virginia game, they came in ranked number 23, and the Longhorns whooped them. That being said, and that was Jonathan Gray's coming out party. Malcolm Brown has been great at the running back position, no problem. Of course, the defense, defensive tackle Malcolm Brown has been good every single game. That guy's gonna be a first-round draft pick in the NFL. Tyrone Swoops, though, in the West Virginia game, was bad. Worst player on the team that day. He was really, really bad. We won in spite of Swoops on that day. And I was really, really frustrated after that game. Happy with the team, with the way overall all the guys played, but Swoops was really bad. And made me wonder, I mean, I've had my questions about him anyways, but it really made me wonder, if next year you're gonna see Gerard Hurd start the season. He played a lot better against Okie State. Not flawless, but he played much better. But the thing about Swoops has been this season is that it's been week to week. Some days, some games, you watch and you think, man, this guy's got something, though. They can develop something here. Then other days, you watch it and you're just like, what is this? What's he even doing out there? But Oklahoma State played much better. Oklahoma State was the most complete win Texas had this year. They won 28-7. If I have to be critical of something, though, the third quarters are still bad. Especially on offense, the third quarters are still bad. We only managed 3 points against Oklahoma State. I don't think we scored at all against West Virginia in the third quarter. And that's when teams, when we have them down, start making a comeback because our offense stalls. That's got to change at some point. I don't know what this third quarter, of course, the most infamous one this year was the BYU, where the floodgates just opened up on us. But very pleased overall with Texas doing, and now they're bowl eligible. And I think that for this group of Longhorns, that's very important. Extra practices. It's also a sense of pride. It's a sense of accomplishment. And they understand that this year is a down year for Texas. But to be able to have this little run here at the end, and I think if you can bookmark this regular season, you could bookend it with a win against TCU at home on Thanksgiving, I think that would be monumentous for this team. Not just going into the postseason, but also the next year. And that's down the road, of course. See, right now, TCU is a better football team than Texas. That's without a doubt. But you saw the way they played against Kansas. Had a rough time with those guys. I think the Horns have a chance. I wouldn't pick them to win, but I think the Horns have a chance against TCU to really mess up this whole playoff picture possibly down the road. Speaking of the bowl games, of course, I have to mention that there's a possible matchup that could happen between the Texas Longhorns and the Texas A&M Aggies. And that would be in the Houston Bowl on December 29th. I want that bad. I really, really want the Aggies if that came down to it. Well, I don't know how it's all going to play out, the next committee, whatever's going to happen with the Liberty Bowl and the Texas Bowl, whatever. If it's Texas versus Texas A&M in the Houston Bowl, that will be the biggest low-end bowl game ever. That place in Houston will be packed. I know just the announcement, the possibility of that happen has tickets in Houston already being sold out right now, or are getting sold out for that bowl game. And the game ain't even announced yet. So I think that this is the year. I didn't really want any piece of when they had Johnny Manziel. I think that he would have torched Texas in those years. I think right now, if the Horns got A&M, I would think Texas has a really good chance to knock off the Aggies, which would be huge for this program. Of course, there's rumblings about who's blocking what or whatever. I'm not really buying into that right now. All that's conjecture, and we've seen what conjecture's got us the last couple of years. But just from my perspective, as we stand right now, the bowl game I want is Texas versus Texas A&M in the Houston Bowl. We're not having a good season. It's a rebuilding year, but that sure would be one really sweet way to end the year. But very proud of the Texas Longhorns and what they've done so far. The running game has been great. The offensive line has to have a lot of credit because it's been patchwork. These guys had to learn along the way, and they've gotten so much better as the weeks have gone on. And defensively, though, this team was already good defensively. They've gotten even better as going along. Quandre Diggs, he's really selling out here for his senior year. Jordan Hicks is playing extremely well. And Malcolm Brown up front. How much more can you say about that guy? That guy, his best defensive tackle in college football. He is. So, proud of the boys, proud of the Horns, proud of what Charlie Strong has done so far this year. And I think as Longhorns fans, we really need to keep our heads up and believe that this guy and his mentality can turn this team back around in Austin. So, hook 'em Horns, Texas fight, and let's see if we can beat TCU on Thanksgiving. Hook 'em.